Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a NFL mock draft. Might as well do this one. I haven't done one of these in a while. I don't even believe I've done the one for this season yet, so figured I'd just start off here. The mock draft starts at pick 2. 1 will be Fernando Mendoza. That's probably one of the easier picks you'll see in a long time. Now you get to the Jets. Defense makes a lot of sense. There's 2 or 3 guys you could pick from here. I think it comes down to all the edge rushers, Ruben Bain, Arvo, Reese, or David Bailey. I know they're the top 3 there. Some have been saying Caleb Downs. I wouldn't hate it. I personally think you go with David Bailey. Guys are absolute freak of nature, can get all over the place. I mean, watching him against Oregon, I know they didn't win. That Texas Tech defense was absolutely filthy. The NFL nerds will like to overthink it. The Jets will overthink it probably. And everyone's crying about like Ruben Bain having small arms or whatever, but it doesn't matter because he goes right here. Just straight off the bat. I mean, I haven't think of the last edge rusher I could probably tell you that played for the Cardinals. Calais Campbell? He's like 100 years old, and then T.J. Watt or J.J. Watt a long time ago. Yeah, not even the one that's in the league. So a lot of people here have someone else going here, but I'm going with Jordan Tyson for the Titans here. Got a young quarterback, got to get him some weapons. I mean, look, Caleb Love. I was thinking, not Caleb Love. I was thinking about Jeremiah Love here, honestly, because they need help all over the place, and some weapons would be good. But Tajai Spears is all right. Tony Pollard's not the worst. I don't know if he's under contract or not still, but I mean, the receivers are what? You got Eric Elmanor, you've got Chime DK. I don't even know a third receiver on that team. I'm trying to think. Because Westbrook Akine is gone. I mean, that's just Jordan Tyson. Up next, the Giants. I could see him going O-line here. I really could. Receivers, another option as well. They got a bunch of holes all over the place. How well do you think you got? I think you might have to go offensive line here. I'm just thinking. I mean, you got Jackson Dart, who gets hurt at all times. Go ahead and take the top guy on the board, Francis Magoa. I think it's between him and Fanu. Again, this will be a quick 2 picks because I got the Browns taking Fanu right off the bat. I think it's not something you don't got to worry about here. And yeah, it's just 2 quick tackles. We'll quickly talk about them both. 2 young quarterbacks, maybe even Deshaun Watson coming back for the Browns. There's not really a quarterback you could justify taking here. As crazy as it is, I could see you taking Trinidad, but obviously he's back in college. You're not going to take Ty Simpson pick 6. Maybe take him later in the first round. Who knows? But I think it's just tackles here for both of the guys that you need young quarterbacks, especially with all the concussion issues from what's his name, from Jackson Dart. And you got Malik Neighbors coming back. I think you're okay. Wan'Dale Robinson had an incredible season. Obviously, put up a shite ton of under yards at the end of the year. And then Fanu obviously take care of the Browns there. I think we'll address some of the other needs later in the first round. This will be a no trade mock draft because trades, it's ridiculous to do a lot of stuff. But there's a few I think I could potentially talk about. But up next, we've got the Commanders. I don't hate receiver here. I know that's probably nuts because they got invested with Deebo Samuel, but Terry McLaurin's always hurt. But if you're at this point, got to go get a game wrecker. I think you go with Arvell Reese here. Probably sliding a bit longer on the board than you'd think, but giving a great Swiss Army knife outside linebacker, edge rusher, even traditional linebacker for Coach Quinn to do his thing. I think it makes a lot of sense. Now you get interesting. Do you go running back? Do you go receiver? I think you got to go receiver here for the Saints. Get Chuck some guys to go with. Carnell Tatum or Kyle Lemon? It's a big question. I think you got to go with the pedigree of the Ohio State receiver room. This is coming from a Michigan fan. I don't have a Michigan flag up. I normally do. But obviously, if it's a receiver, you got to go to Ohio State. This is a no-brainer. I mean, come on. Up next is the Chiefs. I think it's Jeremiah Love. I think it's a pretty easy pick here. I could see an edge rusher potentially if Reese fell a little bit farther, but I think it's Jeremiah Love. Almost a no-brainer for me here. Up next, you've got the Bengals. I don't think you think about this one very long. You just take Caleb Downs, best available, best defender of the draft, and it's an easy pick. Uh, Dolphins in need of a receiver. I think you go Mekhi Lemon here. Seeing obviously now the hole that Tyreek Hill leaves, him with Jared with Mr. Waddle would be an incredible time there. And I think obviously a bit of a different offense, but getting more weapons for Tua as long as you have them, I think you got to go with that. Cowboys, they need help all over the place, whether it be defensive line, offensive line, running back. They just signed Javonte Williams. So I don't know if that's a need anymore, but I think you can go ahead and take Sonny Styles here as a linebacker, help defend the run a little bit, bit of a captain in the middle of that defense, and it solves a lot of your issues there. Up next, you've got the Rams, their pick they got from the Falcons in that trade last year. Need some offensive line help, need some corner help. And I think they take Gerard McCoy here from Tennessee. A never-ending need for receiver for the Ravens. I know they hired Minter as a defensive coach. I think Denzel Boston could definitely be an option here. But I don't see him passing up a talent like Peter Woods in that D line. So we'll take D line there for the Ravens because I think it's a pretty deep class. Like if you look here, obviously this is their rankings. There's a lot of these guys in here that really can make stuff like Jimmy Bernard, the Amari Cooper, Chris Bell, Conception here. Even Skylar Bell, Zach Branch, Mekhi Fields. There's a lot of guys that make a lot of plays that you can get, I think, later in the draft and save yourself some capital. Up next is the Buccaneers. This is the earliest you could see a tight end going, but I think with tight ends are pretty replaceable depending on the offense. So I think, with how many weapons you already invested on the offense, you probably want to address some of that defensive problems with the Bucks because they couldn't stop a soul last year. Go ahead and take Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn, to help that there. Now here's where you can get the quarterback stuff happening here. The Jets obviously took David Bailey earlier in my mock draft here. Could you see him doubling up, going to get a corner and replacing Sauce? I think it's kind of a no-brainer. So we'll do that. 2 defensive picks for a defensive coach. See how long he's even around for. And then you got the Lions. They need help on the O-line. I think you go with the guy that's coach is now in state, Caleb Lomu, to help take care of 2 tackles that retired. But I don't know if Tyler Decker's actually retired yet. That's probably bad that I don't know that. But I think he's about to. If not, he already has. Skipper retired as well. Got to help that O-line. Helps to keep Goff upright. Vikings. Now, Vikings, a lot of people would be like, oh, you need a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. I think they got to go best available. They're keeping that offense around. How sustainable is, the whole Jettas thing not doing the best with the JJ McCarthy? How sustainable is JJ McCarthy in general? Again, I'm a Michigan fan. I think he's all right. Go ahead and invest in that defense. Help try to stop some people. Cassius Howell, edge rusher from A&M, I think is a good thing you could do. But obviously, corner. They couldn't stop a soul last year. Avion Terrell, corner from Clemson. Go for that one. Panthers, one of the more surprising teams, had a pretty good year last year. They need help all over the place. D-line's one of them as well. Receiver, you already have Ted McClellan. I think you could sign some guys to go with him, some veterans. Caleb Banks, D-line from Florida, help stop the run in the division where you got guys that run the ball. Obviously, you got the Falcons. They're sure as hell going to run the ball. You've got the Saints. I don't know if they're running the ball as much as other teams do, but you also got the Buccaneers who love to pound the rock as well. Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving, Rachaad White. So got to stop the run in that division. Cowboys, their second pick. Obviously, earlier we had them taking Sonny Styles on the defensive end. I could see him going for a receiver to kind of help replace Pickens if he doesn't sign long term. But while you're here, you might as well go ahead and do that, I think. But do you get another edge rusher to help shore up that defense? It's such a tough thing with them. I mean, they could even go Sadiq. They're just a crazy team. They're totally a wild card. Let's have them going with defense. Cassius Howell, edge A&M. Keep the guy in state. Now, everybody and their mother has Ty Simpson going here, which is a reach for most boards. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Do you wait another year? Mike McCarthy, quarterback guy. I think he stays with him. I really do. They need receiver help. Denzel Boston's right there for you. You got to go for it while you can. Um, Chargers on the block. They need offensive line help more than they could breathe. I would love to take Sadiq here, but you got to take the Penn State inside guy, Vega Oyane. Vega, if you want to go full name. I mean, you saw that game last year. It's just keep Herbert healthy, and you might even have a chance. It's just a nightmare doing that. Plug and play pick here. I think you got to go Kenyon Sadiq, tight end. Going to the Eagles here. Dallas Goedert getting old. Are you going to pay him? Who knows? But that saves a lot of problems doing that. Now you've got the Browns. I mean, I could go another offensive line here. The whole O-line's a free agent. You could get 2 tackles in the draft, and odds are one of them works. I think you got to go a weapon here because Lord knows you need a weapon. And one of my favorite players in the draft, and a guy that you could use all over, is Jeremy Bernard. But with them going with the offense that it is, the running back, tight end stuff, getting down the field is important. Chris Bell, receiver, Louisville. Like this kid a ton. Good speed. Did a really good job at Louisville in his couple years there. Jeff Brom, kind of a similar offense. It just, again, I'm not a big X's and O's guy. I could be saying something stupid here, but it just feels like the pound the rock in offense is kind of similar to what the Browns are going to run in college. So Chris Bell obviously had extreme success with that. And I think he could get a bunch of volume with a pretty underwhelming receiver room out in the Cleveland Browns facility. And then we got the Bears. They need a lot of help on the D-line. Again, helping stop the run in the division that they're in and getting after the passer. I think that you can do both with TJ Parker. So we'll do that edge from Clemson. The Bills, don't overthink it. They need a guy that can catch the pass, get downfield, get open. I think Concepcion is another guy that they want. But you look, I think it's different. I mean, I think Denzel Boston would be the perfect guy here. Obviously, he's not on the board by my own doing. They need a bigger receiver. I'm actually going to pull up the height to make sure that these guys are, the size of. I'm thinking Omar Cooper. I like Omar Cooper. I know Concepcion is a little bit smaller. Yeah. Cooper's 6 foot, Surratt's 6'2". Actually, you know who it is? He's farther down the board. Wow, I don't know why he's so low here. Chris Brazil, deep threat, big body. I think it's a good addition for this receiving room because they do lack size outside of Keon. You have a bunch of small, shifty guys, which is kind of what you have in this draft. But I think that's a no-brainer for me. With Chris Brazil, if you can't get, I could see one of the Indiana guys there. If not, Boston would be so perfect. But I don't know if you're going to have a guy that have his quality slip that far down. Now we've got the 49ers. Could you go Caden Proctor here and help with that aging room there? Do you go tight end if Sadiq is here? I don't even know who's even in the second tight end in this class. Eli Stowers. I could honestly see that with him having, but they have Tonjes, right? That was the guy that came in with Kittle getting hurt. You see that they want a receiver as well. They kind of did that receiver by committee thing. It did really work. Because Ayuk is kind of out. This is a really tough pick. It really is. I mean, you could go best available and just go McDonald and out of that D-line room, but I think he makes a bit more sense in the pick. Not like I'm, trying to pick for everybody at once here. Niners, what interior line do they have? Pregnon, it's a bit of a reach. Yeah, I think they're, let's go with Concepcion here, receiver. A&M, he had a pretty good couple seasons at NC State before this, really getting all over the field, doing his thing. And I think that he'll continue that here in a very, very, very pass-happy, well, not very pass-happy offense, but a very efficient offense. They had a ton of free agents, I'd imagine, right? Because they had Kendrick Bourne. They have Juwan Jennings under contract. Pearsall's always hurt. It seems like they're always hurt. So you just get some bodies in that room, and hopefully you stay healthy because they got the Lions' health record this year. Now, there's a few sexy picks that they've had here. I've seen even a mock draft this morning had what's his name? Yeah, Jadarian Price going here. But the whole Joe Mixon thing's really interesting. I think they stick to their guns here and go Lee Hunter, D-line, Texas Tech. No, McDonald. I'm looking right past him. Sorry. I thought McDonald was already off the board. Excuse me. McDonald had a pretty good season this year. Obviously my team had a kind of underwhelming D-line from Ohio State this year, but, not too many Ohio State guys that are going to be busts in the league. So, numbers there for surely you'll get the job done. We took a tackle already. All right, so we took in the offense, a corner already. It's going to be a tackle. Caden Proctor, Alabama. Get some youth in that room and go ahead and try to, keep what's his name alive. Matthew Stafford. Need help here on the defensive front, rushing the passer, getting all around, helping that out. CJ Allen adding to an already vaunted Broncos defense. I could see maybe a running back again sneaking here, but I think they're all right with RJ Harvey coming out and kind of doing a lot better than people thought. J.K. Dobbins, don't know his status entirely. And even Jaleel McLaughlin's a third back, is one of the better third backs in the league that I can think of just quickly off my head. So, let's get some. You know what? They needed some help rushing the passer this year. They had like minimal sacks. I mean, there's a guy that's a bit of a veteran, can kind of come into that locker room. Makes sense. I could see him going Mason Thomas here. But they're going to go Akeem Mesidor from that vaunted Miami D line. And then ending it out here with the Seahawks. There's a couple guys they could do here. I feel like, you could go with one of these safeties here. Get a corner and Cisse, Manuel, McNeil Warren. Some other guys just all over the field, just making it happen. But no, if I know McDonald, like I think I do, he's going to go D-line, get another big body in that room. And I do think you got to go with Mason Thomas here. Help rush the passer. They didn't have a ton of sacks there. Now let me quickly go to full results. We can quickly look it over again. Mendoza, Bailey, Bain, Tyson, Magua, Fano, Reese, Tate, Love, Downs, Lemon, Styles, McCoy, Woods, Falk, Delaney, Lomu, Terrell, Banks, Howell, Boston, Ione, Sadiq, Bell, Parker, Brazil, Concepcion, McDonald, Proctor, Allen, Mesidor, Thomas. Let me know if you believe, if you agree with these picks, if there's something else that you would do. And yeah, that's pretty much all we got for now. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.